All right, this is ALK coming to you once again on a Monday night. We have some stuff to talk about, and we're gonna try to get right into it. And then we're gonna try to do our best. Just give me a few moments. We're gonna get started. Had a good Monday day, and did everything they wanted to do. Like every time I get on here, everything that sort of change around, and nothing wanna do right. So I just try to get this okay. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I try to adjust the lights, which is not giving me enough lighting, but it'll be enough. Trying to fix the lighting, but like I say, it will be enough lighting. Trying to adjust everything and everything really side up that glare won't be in the webcam. So sort of new to this, trying to get the best lighting, trying to work the lighting, which is difficulty, and when you're not trying to spend a whole lot of money, you try to do what you can, especially when you don't make this out of a career or making money. So you have to sort of do the best that you can. In other words, without trying to spend money that will really not go stay into. But that. But other than that, I had a wonderful day. Can't complain. But we're gonna get right into it. And then we're gonna try to talk a little about what's going on and what's been taking place. And then we're gonna get it a little better than we're getting it now. I think that's the best. I'm gonna get it tonight. I'm trying to adjust the lighting, get more lighting, but that glare I couldn't stand that glare on the left side of the street or the right side of the street, but we got it. So we're gonna start tonight. We're gonna talk about the first one that we focus on blaming the last administration. I always tell people when you step in a position, you can't blame the last person that had that position. You have to deal with what you have and function as a person that had the desire to be in that office or be in that. And you know, when we talk about business, when you being hired and you being talked about in the business, you have to accept what you all have fill out the application for or sign a contract for. So you the one that got to straighten out everything. It's not the blame game. And what this administration now presently is doing is doing the blame game. But the blame game have to be true and it got to be a fight of what's been taking place. Now we can look at a lot of things, we can say a lot of things, but always look at a situation, don't do the blame game. What you have and what you have, that came into your hand, you have to deal with it. If you have inherit, you have to deal with what you inherit. You just have to make it better. But blaming the last administration not gonna make it better because now it's yours. You own it. Because when you running for president, you have to assume that everything that you want to be as president, you got to straighten it out or just make better policy. And when you ain't making better policy, it's not gonna make the situation better. So we have more of the Republican doing the blame game versus the Democrats. So we look at that situation, not so much the Republican. Republican just silent. They are like nothing. They are not coming out publicly. They are not saying nothing. It's sad when the press secretary know more than them. It's just like the press secretary and Miller. I call him Miller. Miller the guy. They about the only one that's having a conversation. Even the vice president and the well, we got the defense secretary saying everything but not the right thing. But most of the one is talking to the press secretary and Trump texting texting on social media. So we have that. I always tell the people don't do the blame game. Take control of it. Just be front with the people. Say, hey, this is in my hand. I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to adjust it, and this is what I have, and that's what I'm trying to do. I just need y'all support and be patient with me. That's plain thing that you can do right now. Simple. And people know that if you're trying, I think they'll be considerate and you trying and you're trying to fix something that is broken. All right, next one is the immigration policy. We can form an immigration policy that will solve the border situation. Now, they said they had zero immigrant coming across the border. Now, that can be fiction because you cannot stop people from coming across the border. Now, you can catch them eventually, but you're not going to stop them. That just you will never get zero. When you get zero, you it just ain't no more people really in this world. When you get zero, because either they coming by plane or coming here to visit, or however you look at it, they gonna get here. So we just have to face the fight that it was never be zero people coming across the border. We by way X that. That will never be. I don't care what kind of immigrant policy that you have, what kind of foreign policy you have, or of anything. People gonna come in this country. I don't care how we try to stop it, how much you try to stop, how hard it is. People will get here. It'll be by some other source or resource, they gonna get here. So it will never be zero. It might be fewer than what it was on last year, but it would never be zero. So we got that straight. That was a fission. They said the secretary, press secretary, thought is zero, but it never be zero. So here we go. And next one is lying. It's so much going on, and it about don't got to the point that you can't even tell what is real and what is not real. Because if you keep saying something that's not true, it can end up being true in the person's mindset. Not that in reality it's true, but in a person's mind, it's true. Because if you keep repeating to a group of people that believe you, to them it'd be true. Because assume they trust you and what you say. But as I always tell people, research. When people tell you something, research it, especially politician and this government. Research it. You might have to watch different news line, but that's okay. But you have to put all together the knowledge and keep researching, make sure the facts is there. So the biggest thing about that, why I said liar, 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 because if they saying that the middle class, they say middle class gonna get an increase during the big the big beautiful bill. And it's hard to even say that because I don't care how you say it. We've been in this country. I know I've been living 50 something years, and it's always a struggle for poor people and sometimes middle class people. It depends on what the economy look like. We'll struggle, and they say it gonna help. All of a sudden, that they created something that's gonna help people out more than all of the rest of these president has came through, either Republican, Democratic, all of them, for the help. But they can say what they want, but it won't work that easy. The biggest thing about people getting increased, I won't believe it until they say they're raising minimum wage. If they start saying they raising minimum wage, yes, because then you got something tangible that you can hold on to, that you can hope for. But no, they keep saying that you're gonna get an increase in pay. The middle class gonna get an increase in play and pay. I assume that's annually. But if you look at uh, what he said, I don't know the number right off, so I'm not saying this is what she said, but this is a estimate what she said. She say middle class for to get a big raise, I guess it annually, 11,000, and but they didn't say nothing about the poor. That's the thing about it. You have to pay attention to what they're saying. They say the middle class for to get at least an increase of 11,000 a year. I'm gonna say a year, but she probably said something else. But sometimes it's hard to stay focused when they're talking. So I say a year. $11,000 a year ain't that much. So if we're looking at that, we have to take into consideration that you might get an increase, but it's still if the economy is not working to your advantage. That increase gonna be a waste of time. So that's something that you have to look at, and based off they saying increase, but they ain't trying to get prices down. They're not doing nothing to advance people. They cutting more than they giving. So I don't know where the increase gonna come for family. But middle class might get an increase. But poor people, they ain't talking about it. They ain't trying to help people and that in their situation. Poor people, low income. I'm just saying low income people. But low income people gonna get hurt because if the price stays the same and they're making under minimum wage, somewhat minimum wage, or less than $10, they still gonna suffer because $10 an hour ain't that much. When you start looking at prices now, that's a hurt. Then you start taking away the subsidies that they use to eat. And most people say they abuse it, but like I said in one video, I don't care how much they abuse it, but if you're trying to help a person, it's up to them to do what's right. And you can't stop people that are abusing because there's some people that are dedicated. and feeding their family and need this and doing what's right. So you can't punish those that doing what's right versus those that doing wrong with them. So you have to take that bad for the good, and that's how I look at it. You just can't destroy stuff because it's like a low percentage of people doing wrong about it. Some people need that income because the low job they get. Some people can't get no high paying job that's 50 plus thousand dollar a year. So we have to look at those people that make the $20,000 get the $20,000 job. Now they can get high somewhere else. I imagine they could, but with their education, sometimes might be the problem. GED might be a problem. They can't get the high paying job. Any people that got bachelor's degree get a cut. They don't get the high paying job that they should versus other people that's in the workforce. So it's all based on that. We can look at it saying that we can do this and that, but it's still based on who is the employer and who is the CEO, who is the manager of that business, because they might have a mindset that they don't look to help low income people or people that are trying to get up based on race. It can be based on race, based on something else, based on their position, who they know or what they know. So we have to look at that and put all that in consideration. So my last one tonight is we'll talk about this one is the war with Israel, and I ain't gonna say a war. Let's take that back. A I was just thinking now, trying to find something that I can use. Let's say a somewhat in a small attack. We won't say the war. We'll say a small attack against each other, and USA join in with Israel just to try to destroy the uranium and what else? Their nuclear capability, just in case Iran trying to do it. Sometimes we have to look at situations before we make tough decisions. Now, I'm not going to talk about the administration, what brought them to the decision that they made. Hey, that's on them. They'll take the blame for that one. But for me, you have to look at the situation, look at the intelligence that what they're saying and what they're speaking. So you have to look at that, and you have to bring other countries in just to see the situation, what's going on. Now, I'm not a big fan of war or big fan of attacks on other nations unless they threaten the United States. But it always a diplomacy. I always consider the diplomacy first. Talk to them first and try to get an understanding. Now, with that, with them making that decision that they made, we also have to make a conscious decision saying that now we have to be on some type of alert with Iran with their attack or their retaliation against us. So everything that we do from this day forward have to be watched and have to be noticeable. And we have to have intelligent focus on Iran, not so much that we lose all the focus on the rest of our enemy, or rest of our people that want to cause United States some hurt. So we have to take that in consideration. Of always look at suicide bombing. Always look at self-made bomb that may be already planted. It could be already here in the United States. So we have to look at all of that, and we have to take in consideration how we made that decision. Now, closer to what they're doing now, and speaking about it and saying their tight was great. Yes, it was great, but now we have to set up a defense that will protect the United States citizen. and Israel can protect themselves with their system that they have, their Iron Dome they have. So we have to take all that consideration. We have to be very cautious for the next 6 months and have some high alert, intelligent, seeking information, watching for different movement, and Iran have to be watched for being tight because I don't believe they'll never lose focus on their goal. I want everybody to understand that they will never lose focus on their goal. They've been doing this over there for years, hundreds of years. So we cannot underestimate it that this war gonna end. And then they say the war will end in 24 hours. That's very interesting. And I know that we can look at it because if you pay attention to how this went, now Iran is giving people weapons and supporting them in their fight against Israel, the Houthis and all of them. I assume that they finance all of that. But then you have to look at now, why can't they go further in their war if they decide to keep going and continue with the war? Because they understand one thing about the United States. We are not chasing after civilian targets. And that's the most important, that this is nothing new to our enemy, our adversary. That's why they invented the suicide bomber, because we're not looking at civilian targets. But now we do because of suicide bombing. So IED. So we start beginning to look at those. But they know that if we attack them, we're not attacking their civilians. We're attacking military target that will affect the military. So we have to look at that. On the other hand, Israel, that's a different story on that one. When they hit targets, it'd be a lot of disaster, a lot of hurt there, because the target have to be really pinpoint. So we got high tech equipment that we can do it, but this war, I'm gonna say the battle. I keep saying war. Everybody else saying war, but I don't think it is a war because this is nowhere near a war. This is just an attack on one nation to another one. Now, if totally break out a war and Israel put troops on the ground or Iran start moving troops there, yes, that's what we have to be considered of. But that's something other that I don't think no country would want to do that. But the thing I think, and decision that everybody will say, should he have done it or would he have done it? Me, I wouldn't have did it with hitting the nuclear plants or nuclear sites. I wouldn't have, but I would have requested them to let people go in and see what's going on or inspect in that order. You know, continue with the targets of military target, but you still have to be considered when it comes down to trying to assassinate. I don't think so much assassinate like soft targets. I say that because when we are in battle, yes, but when we are not in a war or in a continuation of war, you don't want to go that way because there's always a person underneath that person. Now, I always look at when we hit and soft target, being military, we got to understand that the person that come up next might be brutal than that person. So we have to be careful when we hit and soft targets. We have to make inside allies. But that's a long story right now. I be like I'm at a battle board now, but The decision is made. I'm not against it. I'm not. I wouldn't be for it neither. And you say, how can you be in the middle? You have to be yes or no. Sometimes you have to look at the situation and gather all the intel. When I see all the intel, when they put it out, when they start talking about the outcome, did it hit, do the job that it's supposed to have did they accomplish their job? So we have to look at all that. So it was if it be a failed mission, it was no need in doing it. So that's why I say in between, because I don't have all the information with what we hit, how much damage did, was those the sites that should have been hit, should we have watched it a little longer, uh, ain't better watched it in a sense that we don't publicize it, because it really will publicize. When when you hit somebody, you don't want to publicize it. It just right now in this administration is it's nothing so quiet. When you get ready to hit somebody in a site, you probably don't want to give them a heads up. That's the thing that where I'm in a conflict with the decision making, because I knew they get ready to hit the site, and most people say it was planned like a year ago or whatsoever. Well, I don't care how much it was planned a year ago, and even though Iran couldn't stop the hit, but they could have relocated some stuff that we needed to hit, and plus it would have hit them unknowingly in a way. It probably did more damage, because there's probably been people there that is is working in nuclear plant. So that would have got most of the nuclear plant and the people that involved in it. So hopefully it did a good deed. Like you're saying, we won't know until we get a eyes on uh, battle assessment. So we get that, and then we go from there. But for this point on, we got to focus on the retaliation of Iran. If not Iran, somebody that Iran will hire to do their job or do their dirty work. So we already know they do that. So we have to face the fight with that one. When they do that, it take their hands off of it. They might fund it or figure out did they fund it or were they involved in it. It's hard to say that when they get other people to do their work, or do they dirty work. In a word, do they battle for them? So we have to stay focused and we have to stay on high alert. I say for the rest of this year that we won't get caught short. And we always got to have a plan. What if? And it got to be a plan that can operate and work. So that's the thing about the battle. Israel hitting target in Iran, and U.S. supporting them in the and we're hitting the nuclear plants. So that's what we have to look at and look toward the future. And hopefully, I would say hopefully that Iran said, okay, we did what we supposed to do, and come out and start talking that we're not trying to build nuclear bombs, or we're just building nuclear plants for energy. So that'll be okay. Now the closest thing that if we want to really focus, we look at what's coming to the country. We're gonna be hard, but we got to figure out who's selling what and what they are doing. So who is keep going out is some other countries sending people in. We got to know that. We got to track all that and see who going in, who are going out the country. There's another country that personnel that deal with nuclear. We have to start looking at it. Then we have to start figuring out, okay, this is what taking place. This is what happened. So we got to get all the intel. because if a country ain't used to making a nuclear weapon, somebody got to be helping them. And then the most important thing is, you know, how long it take to get there and who is doing it. And that's what you have to really watch out for. So with that, I know I talked about 14. I won't talk too long, but I just wanted to make the video and for future use because people want to see if you can make a good decision, if you can become what a person wants to vote for. So I'm just putting this out here, the video out. I'm not trying to get views right now. I say that because I'm not really trying to tag no one. I'm not really trying to get them, just making them as everything unfold with this administration. I'll comment on some of the things that is a big talk and then say this is how I look at it. Now everything that have happened these 6 months, we can look at it and we can look at it hard. And we can say anybody that come next probably do a whole lot better. But the thing that we cannot do is let the Republic stay in their powerful position. So that have to be what it is. We just can't let them stay as strong they are. When they got the president, they have the Senate, they have Congress. We just thank God that they didn't take control of all the judges, all the judicial. So even though the Supreme Court sometimes benefit them, but we still have to look at that, saying that the other courts is standing tall and they standing for the Constitution, and that's good. And I tip my hat off to them. But the Supreme Court, they really have to step in a step of their game. They cannot be partisan, which now they are. How much they feel like they got power, but that power can either be taken away. And that's something other that, like I said, we have to look at because something has to be done when you favoring a president. You can't do that as the Supreme Court. You have to be open minded as protect the Constitution of the United States. When the Constitution of the United States change, then your mindset should change. What's in the Constitution, that's what you offend. That's what you defend. You don't make your own ideology. If the 14th Amendment say everybody that's born in the United States is a citizen and they deserve all the right as a citizen, that's what you defend. You can't say if their parents were immigrant, but they still can be deported. No, you have to do exactly what the Constitution states. That's your defense. That's all you're supposed to do at the Supreme Court and the judicial branch. You fight for the Constitution because the Constitution have no eyes, no ears, no whatsoever. It have no judgment, and that's what I love about the Constitution. It can't think for itself, but when you are reading it and it's there, that's your guideline as the judicial branch. But that sums up most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. I don't too much get on and criticize either party, but we do know something has to change. Not saying it's changing for a small group, but it's changing for people that need support, people that need a defense, because not everybody is terrible. Not everybody is deserve the thing that they are getting right now. So we have to do better as a country, and not everybody bad. We know we got criminal, we got prison, we got everything else, but there's another way to convince a person to do right other than prisonizing for half their life and then you expect them to come out successful, and which they're not. I don't now know what they do. It's just like being in the army. Being in the army for 20 some change. When I came out, I had to adjust because I was still thinking that I was in the army. Now, if I was thinking the other way, and there was a law saying that when you get out of the army, you can't act, you can't think like military, I would have had to go back into the military, just plain and simple. Because when you do it for 20 years, is when you get out, it's hard to adapt to what you are facing as a civilian now. You came in as just like when I first went in as a civilian. We went in as civilian, and I don't know about no other soldier, but I got in a lot of trouble because I was taking civilian life into the military until they trained me and made me think military, and they had to transform me from civilian to soldier. So after they did that, I became a soldier. So the same way when I got out, it took some time transforming me back to civilian, because if you don't, you still have the edge. And every eye, or every time you feel like I say like somebody is a danger to you, the first thing pops in your mind like, how can I destroy them before they destroy me? And that should be when you get out of becoming a civilian, because that's your main thought. You don't have a Frago. You had to made a tendency plan. You don't made a op order saying how I can get rid of this person, and they just doing the average thing a civilian probably do to each other. But you don't thought about many ways of trying to stop them. It's just like you feel like they're attacking you. But when you got the army, it takes some time to adjust. And right now, I'm in the stage now adjusting. It's been 5 years, so sometimes I still get the thought of being in the army, and I know that my age, I'm like I can't do no running, I can't do nothing. But it's just me talking. I'm just trying to get an understanding of who I am, and the challenge. I'm still very disciplined for sure. So discipline is the one thing that is the key is being successful. But I'm gonna end this with stay focused, stay resilient, as the military tell us. Always be watchful, and just like people believe, like okay, what gonna come up next? We cannot consider this act of attack is somewhat is so devastating, and that's the key. Now, I don't agree with it taking place, and I don't agree with it's not taking place on in between. So that's why I say I got to get more of the intel when they put it on news. They talk about it more. But I will say this much for sure: we have to be watchful, intelligent. Gonna have to hike up. I believe that military bases got to go up a level, and decon, and let people know we have to be at alert. So I believe that we should do that. Also, as people coming into the country, we have to be on alert. We're not trying to ban nobody, but we're trying to be on alert, a high alert of who coming in and what is coming in, especially on the ships and the cargo and all of that. We got to be more, you know, intense on searching what's inside of containers, and all of that. And sometimes it's good to search it out versus saying it's all good, it got a seal on it, it's done. But we have to be intensify our inspection and intensify our search effort. So I just leave that with everybody, and I hope you have a great tomorrow, which the day is will be June 23rd. So we're almost halfway there, and we know that things gonna get better. We just got to keep holding on, see the rest of this year, see what's gonna take place. Can't too much else happen that already don't happen because you can do so much. I know this administration gonna keep failing, but we should be don't got used to it now. Not saying that we approve of it, but we should be at a point now that we know something gonna fail. But we have to be at that point trying to figure out how to fix it and how to straighten it out. And got to be on key with changing people mindset and their decision. So I look forward to the future, and hopefully about sometime at the end of this year I'll start going public with some of these videos. I start passing out cards so they can go watch the videos, and then that's when everything for me will go hot. So have a great night. I hope to see you next Monday, same time.